Okay, this is the Green Leap Forward Part 2, where we're going to be talking about some more things that we could potentially implement within this system to help mitigate the effects of climate change. One of the effects of climate change is that it alters our weather patterns. So you'll see that within, for example, within parts of the country, like in the north, south, never east, in the west, sorry, but in the west, for example, there are a lot of forest fires and extreme droughts, and then in the east you have a lot more flooding. That is actually that degree of imbalance is one of the effects of climate change. So what we would need to do is begin to have climate specific systems that are then implemented to mitigate those effects of climate change with green infrastructure. So when it comes to flooding, that we could then redo our roads instead of doing cement and asphalt roads and streets, which are taxing on these very limited resources. We can ultimately have permeable roads where we have pavers that actually are able to then absorb the water, and they would be filtered in through they were able they could be filtered in through the earth. One of the reasons why it floods so much is because the water just sits on top of concrete, and then there's no outlet for the water to then drain off into the earth. So we would then have to create bioswales and things like that to help to catch and collect some of this rainwater, this excessive amount of rainwater to prevent flooding. Next, that we would have to focus on reforestation, and we could implement a system of Miyawaki forest. Miyawaki forest is a Japanese method of reforestation where you take native species of plants and trees and shrubs, and you plant them in more like a circle, right? And over time, these small forests can then become self sustaining within 2 to 3 years. So we could then begin to do that to help reforestation, and that would ultimately help to not only clean the atmosphere of the CO2, but it would also help to strengthen biodiversity and reintroduce and create more habitat to bring back species and slow down the sixth mass extinction that's happening. One of the effects of late stage capitalism is extreme homelessness. So, within the Green New Deal, we could then, as we begin to update society, that we could also begin to focus on reurbanization. We could like I said, we could tackle urban sprawl. We could also do for example, we could relax some zoning laws to make room for people who may want to homestead or live off the land, things like that. Also, in the realm of public transportation, which has not been updated in the last 100 years, we could invest in technology and advance um, our transportation system, making it easier to cross country and get from place to place, which will also limit the need for cars, which are polluting our atmosphere. So when I think of the Green New Deal, I think that I feel like, I'd look to Singapore as an example. I feel like Singapore is already living in the future, that they are the future, and that we need to be moving in that sort of direction. And then after we then redevelop society and we update society, then we could just focus on living well. We would have healthier foods, cleaner meat, people would have homes, and we could then begin to advance technology because technology is then the next boom. And I'll get to that in another video.